Hi, Harold.
Hi, Mario.
Did you hear the voice?
Yes.
That's something new, and I can't. I
Yeah, I
cannot.
know, because I did.
V'shachat osa. We're dealing with the paraduma. Shelo yishchot acheres ima. You have to shecht only one animal, not another. Lefonov. Lerab means shelo yasich daitu mimena. You can't have hesach hadas. You can't take your mind off of the paraduma. Lishmuel she'ezar shoichet v'lozarot. To teach you that even a non-Kohen can shecht as long as Elazar oversees it. We paskin that a zar cannot shecht it. Elazar takes from its blood. What's the point of this pasuk? Because Shmuel said that a zar, a non-Kohen, can do the shechita, but now, from this point on, it has to be by Kohen. L'rav havi miyud achar miyud. It's one miyud after another miyud. Vein miyud achar miyud l'rabois. Dafilu Kohen hedyoid, to teach you that it doesn't have to be done by the sgan. Elazar was the sgan to Aaron HaKohen. But that l'doirois, it doesn't have to be the sgan. It could be even a regular Kohen. Then v'lokach HaKohen eitz erez, cedar wood, ve'ezov, hyssop, ushni tolas, and the wool stained with the blood from those insects. So l'shmuel, dafilu b'kohen hedyoid, that this gathering of this material could be done even by a regular kohen. L'Rav needs it for its own purpose. Because Salkat, I think I might have thought, Kivin de lav gufa de paraninu. These items are not part of the paraduma. Maybe Lola boy coin at all. Maybe it wouldn't require coin. It could be done by a non-coin. Kamash malon that it needs to be done by coin. The coin will wash his clothes. To teach me bechihuna, that means the processing of the paraduma has to be done while he's wearing his big day kahuna. The tameh kohen at ha'arev, the kohen who processes the paraduma becomes tameh. Kohen bechihuna l'doiros, that the din that a kohen has to be wearing his begadav even for future generations, that teaches you that din. That's good, according to the opinion that says that in the future, the paraduma could be processed even by a regular coin, not the skan. I mean, if you require coin gadol, coin gadol certainly wears garments. So why would you wouldn't need me to teach me that it has to be done by begadim? Or says no, it's in. We could have written it because Milsa the Asa become a chomer talk because of lakra. We have many examples in the Torah where even though we could have learned it b'kav chomer, it still wrote a pasuk to tell me the din. Then the Asaf ish tahor as efer hapara. The ish tahor has to gather the efer para. The hiniach. So we darshan ish lachshir zazar. Even a non-Kohen can mix the afer with the mai. Tohor lachshir saisha. Even an isha. V'hiniach.
Where is it burned? Where is it burned? Where is the Torah burned? Inside the Zorah?
No, on the Hara Mishcha.
Can't be, because then the Isha could come in to take away the ashes.
It's not. It was burnt on the Hara Mishcha. It's a mountain that's away, but they could see the Heichal. It was not burnt in the Azara.
Okay. Otherwise, a woman could come in to get it. This is not talking
about burning it. This is saying who can mix the ashes with the water. So a woman could mix the ashes with the water. V'niach mish yesh bo das laniach, yotzu cher shroit v'kotten shein b'das laniach. They don't have das, so they're not in the mitzvah of mixing the mechates. Everyone can mix to add the water to the ashes that's in the kli, except for even an isha. Rabbi Yehuda machshir bekotten upoisel beisha androgynous. Rabbi Yehuda said a cotton can do it. He puzzled a woman and an androgynous, a person that has both male and female genitalia. My time in Rabbanon, the Rabbanon say that an isha can do it. Tichsiv v'lachula tamei me'afar sreifas achatas hanech b'pasel b'asif v'pasel b'kedusha. Only the ones that couldn't gather it up, like the cheresh of a cotton, they cannot be makadish either. Rabbi Yehuda and Kain Lemakrov v'lokach mai v'lakchu, plural. Dafilu cotton depasel achas samacha kosher. That even over there he can't be oisef, but here he can mix the water in. Now, where does Rabbi Yehuda learn that an isha is not qualified to do it? We don't paskin that way. We paskin an isha can do it. Where do we see? But how does Rabbi Yehuda pasel the isha? Because it says v'nosan, the lo v'nasna in female form. Now the Rabbanon who permit an isha, what do they say to this thing of nosan v'lo v'nasna? Both singular. Maybe two different people could have to do it, not the same person. That's why the Torah wrote v'lakhu, that it doesn't have to be the same person. Because if it said both plural, maybe two have to mix it and two have to give it. Even two people gathered it, but one person could still apply the water. Then the pasuk says, "V'lakache zov," you take the hyssop, the tovel b'mayim ish tohor, that they dipped it in the water. A tahor person dipped it in the water. The Rabbanon ish v'lo isha, that this processing cannot be done by a woman. Tahor lahachshir sakotn. To say that even, but a cotton could do it. As remember, we said he could not mix the water, but this dipping he could do. Ula Rabbi Yehuda ish v'lo cotton. Tahor lahachshir saisha. Just the opposite, where Rabbi Yehuda said an isha cannot do the kiddush. Here he said a woman could do the dipping. Everyone can sprinkle the ashes of paraduma on a tame person, except for a tumtum, which is a person who there is this piece of skin covering his genitalia, so we don't know what he is. Androgynous means he's got two genitalia. The isha. Now, cotton sheyesh bo das isha mesaito mazeh. A cotton that has a das, even though he doesn't have age, a woman can help him. And the loy polik Rabbi Yehuda. So you see, Rabbi Yehuda seems to agree. Am Rabbi kiva da amar mashma moitz miyad mashma. Some of the psukim you can learn directly. Some of the psukim you can't. So even here, polig, he can't. He certainly argues. He doesn't have to say b'mufurish because we know these psukim in paradum are structured that way. Then, an important halacha, v'hizah tahor la tamei. A tahor person has to sprinkle on the tamei. Tahor michlal shu tamei. The fact that you said tahor implies that in some way he was tamei. Li made out tvul yom shekosher b'para. That is, a person touches a sheretz or nevela that day, and then he goes to the mikveh that day. That night, he'll already be tohor with hair of shemesh. After he comes out of the mikveh, he's called a tvul yom. A tvul yom can eat meiser. He can't eat truma and kodshim. So in a way, he still has a certain tumma. However, from this pasuk, we learn that a tvul yom can participate in the processing of the paraduma. This was a major machlokas between the Prushim and the Tzdukim. In fact, the Prushim would give a person a sheretz to hold and dunk him in the mikveh to make sure that he's a tvul yom, because that would prove that he was not a tzduki. Where Rav Yochanan and Reish Lakish were studying paraduma, lo maskmi no kemai demasik talam beikrava. They pulled out like very few fruit from the ground, meaning very few chidushim came out from this study. Ela Amri, what they did say, mashma moitzmi ed mashma. There's some psukim in paraduma that you learn directly. Well, mashma memela, some you have to deduce. Tani takamid Rav Yochanan. Kol hashchitas ksheres bizar chutz mishel para. The shchita of all karbonos you can do by non-kohen, except for a paraduma. If you remember, that's what we paskin. The Rambam paskins that all the avodot of a paraduma has to be done by kohen. However, when the brisa was read in front of Rabbi Yochanan, Rav Yochanan puktani livra. Take this outside; it's not correct. Lo matzinu shchita bizar psula. We never find, even by paraduma, the zar could do the shchit. Rabbi Yochanan lo maboy l'tana de lotzayis, elafila Rabbi lotzayis. Forget about it. They didn't find a tana who he found held like that. But even to his Rebbe, he didn't listen. Even though his Rebbe held a different shita, he didn't agree with his Rebbe. Where do we see this? But vani omer kshera. Lo matzinu shchita shepsula bizar. So his Rebbe held that it was possible. We paskin that it is possible. Balo etzel paroshniya. Then he came to the second time to his cow, and he did another vidui. The first vidui he didn't say the children of Aaron. And the second vidui includes the Kohanim. The first vidui is for Aaron himself. If you're guilty, you can't come and defend the other guilty parties. So Aaron had to do vidui for himself, cleaned himself. Then he can come as a innocent and do a vidui for those that are chayiv.
It's a riot that Dibur is mechaper because he himself. Otherwise, he before the shechita, and for the other people, he had to do the shechita for them to have kapora. It's a riot that kapora for the Kohen is b'dibur alone, without having shechita.
Because no shechita is taken place of the part. So, however, now
right. So, but for the other people, you have to have a shechita.
You have to have vizrikas adam. There's no kapora with dibur alone. Okay, so now
for the second one, but for the first.
So now let's review. The Kohen came in his regular begadim, and they shechted the olas hatami. Then he went in the mikveh, washed his hands, and they put on the white clothing. Then they brought him the par, and he did the vidui, the first vidui for himself. Then they brought the two goats, and they did the lottery for the two goats before the second vidui. Remember? And then he has the goat standing by the gate ready to be thrown out. They tied the red string to each goat. And then he did the second vidui on his par. That's where we are so far. Now shachto. So now they went ahead and they shechted the par. The two goats are still alive. But now they shech the par, because the par, we're going to see, is processed before the goat. And by the way, there's one vidui left for Klal Yisrael. But that vidui is done over the Sa'ir Lazazel. So shachta v'kibel b'mizrak damo. So they shechted and they received the blood. Then they stirred it, because there's going to be a fair amount of time that goes by while he's going to do the ketoires avoda. So if they just left the blood in a bowl, it would clot. So they need somebody to stir the blood. And they did it on the fourth step of marble in the Azara. The Roived Revi is the fourth step. Then Notal Machta, he took a pan of coals. The idea is he's going to bring the pan and a cup and a spoon eventually into the Kodesh Kadoshim. And he's going to sprinkle, using the spoon, the Ktoires on these coals so that the flame will go up, the Ktoires will be burned. That's the avoda in the Kodesh Kadoshim. But now he's got to prepare that. He takes a pan, v'olol rosh hamizbeach. He walks up the outside mizbeach. Ufina gecholim elech ve'elech. And he moves coals from here to there. V'choitem and mokolas apnimis. He finds some inner burning coals. And he puts it in the pan. The Yarad Vinichal Rovid Ravish, he puts the pan also on this fourth step. Now the Mishnah is going to describe to us. Remember, there was an avodas haktoires every day. Half of it in the morning, half of it in the afternoon. Part of the oilas atomid of the boiker and the bein arbayin. So the Mishnah now is going to show us the differences between the Maisa of the Ketores every day and the Maisa of Ketores on Yom Kippur. He would dig around and they would put it in a silver pan. And from there, they would pour it into a golden pan. Here, on Yom Kippur, they worked only with a golden pan, and it's with that pan that they would go into the Kodesh Kadosh. He would start off in the pan with 4 kavs of coal, and he would sort of tip it into 3 kavim. Here, he started with 3 kavs uvoya machnis, and with that he would go in. Rabbi Yossi Omer b'choyam choyte b'shal saw. They would start off with a saw, which is I think 6 kav. Uma'ar b'toch shloshes kavim. He ended up with 3. That's every day. Today he just did it 3. Every day it was heavy, and today it was light. Normally the handle of the pan was short, and today the handle is long. Usually it was like a golden green, and the color. And now it was a reddish, the color of the pan. Divrab Menachem. Every day they would offer a portion in the morning, a portion in the afternoon. Here they added the amount that he would have in his hand. A process of chatzimona. Here they added a malachofnov because with that he's going to go into the Kodesh Kadoshim. The Ktoiras was very fine. Hayom Yom Kippur Daka min Adaka. It was the finest of the fine. That's what they brought into the Kodesh Kadoshim. They would Erev Yom Kippur they would grind it even more. When they walked up the ramp every day, the Kohanim would walk on the eastern part of the ramp up, and they would come down on the western. Today, the Kohen Gadol walked in the middle and came down in the middle. And Rabbi Yehuda Kohen Gadol, when he wanted to walk up the ramp, he always walked up the middle. The Kohen Gadol, if he wanted to do the avodah, would wash his hands and feet from the regular wash basin. Hayom and akitin shel zahav. Today it was with a golden jug. Rabbi Yehuda Kohen Gadol makadosh yadav raglav and akitin shel zahav. Rabbi Yehuda says the Kohen Gadol used this special golden jug every day. How many grills were set up on the top of the Mizbeach HaChitzon? So there's Machlokes Tanoim. According to Tanna Kama, normally there were 4, and today there were 5. Dib Rab Meir. Rabbi Yossi Yomer B'Choyom Sholosh Vayom Arba. Rabbi Yossi says every day there were 3 grills, and today there were 4. Rabbi Yehuda Yomer B'Choyom Shtayim Vayom Sholosh. We paskin like Rav Yossi that every day there were 3, and on Yom Kippur there were 4, and we'll discuss how these were arranged. Now, the Mishnah said that after they collected the blood in a kli, another Kohen stood there stirring it so it didn't coagulate. Freik the Gemara v'aksiv chol adam lo yeh bo'el moed. During Avodas Yom Kippurim, the pasuk says there shouldn't be any other human being biva'ol lechaper b'kodesh. I'd say so. How could this other Kohen be there? On Rav Yehuda Tnei Shel Heichal, that this 4th step was not in the Heichal itself; it was outside of the Heichal. That nobody could be in the Heichal, right? The building where the Shulchan, the Menorah, and all that is. But they could be outside in the Azara. When he stepped out of the Eichel to the Azara, that's where he was. And they would count 4 rows from there. Now, does that mean nobody could be in the Azara? Talmud Lemer B'ol Moed. And the Gemara will go through an analysis. What does Oil Moed mean? We'll learn that tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.
What about tomorrow?
Yeah,